Hello, welcome to my series about all Chopin's music. Today I have for you my very favorite piece of music, which is Sonata No. 3 in B minor opus 58. If anybody asks me what is my one best and most beloved piece by Chopin, I don't hesitate even 1 second. I immediately say Sonata No. 3. And this is, of course, I love a lot of his fantastic pieces. Ballad No. 4, Ballad No. 3, Ballad No. 1, his Nocturnos. Well, a lot of pieces. Because you know me, probably, and if you don't, welcome. You know how much I love all his music. But his very favorite number 1 is definitely this piece. Why? Because it's a very big piece full of everything. This is the Chopin in all aspects. Everything that we know from Chopin is there. And maybe that's why I love it so much. I love to perform it so much. I played it many times just to see my score. Yes, this score is very old because I first learned this piece when I was in my first year of studies. So that was 2004. Then I had about 10 years break, and then I relearned it again after 10 years of break, and then I understood it much better. So now I'm here to explain to you as much as I see in this, because I know, especially for music lovers, this piece is not easy. It's very demanding. So hopefully after this video you will feel closer to this masterpiece, and I'm extremely enthusiastic to do it for you. So just don't be surprised how enthusiastic I am, because simply this I share with you the piece which I love with all my heart. Sonata No. 3 was written in 1844 and was published in 1845. And this sonata was completely not understood by the musicologists and composers from Chopin's time and a little later. Just to quote you a little bit about this. This sonata was not universally acclaimed. Franz Liszt did not like it. Yes, he said that Chopin should write nocturnos, mazurkas, but not a sonata. He is hopeless writing sonata, wrote Franz Liszt, who himself wrote, of course he wrote also a fantastic sonata, but his sonata is even longer than this one. But anyway, that's another story. Niecks felt it had too many motifs in the first movement. Well, what a critic. Leichtentritt perceived a lack of focus. Another strange comment. One English biographer thought that the passion of the finale went beyond the bounds of decency. Maybe it is indecent, but well, never mind. The most critical commentator of the Opus 58 was Vincent Dindy, who acknowledged the lofty melodic inventiveness, but bemoaned a lack of feel for design. Well, even Żeleński, Polish, very enthusiastic biographer of Chopin, considered the sonata first movement, despite its brilliant details, an entirely unsuccessful work. My friends, thanks God we had also other musicologists, for example Arthur Hadley, who wrote that its 4 movements, the sonata's 4 movements, contain some of the finest music ever written for the piano. And with this quotation I finish. I totally don't agree with all these critical comments written about this sonata. Thanks God the time is the best judge. And nowadays it's one of the most favorite of the pianists and the audiences all over the world. That's why you are here, probably listening to my analysis. Okay, let's start now. And the whole sonata, this video will be about, of course, only first movement. The whole sonata has 4 movements. The first, and it's very much like in the Beethoven sonatas. First is the Allegro sonata form, the sonata form. About the sonata form, I recorded another video. If you didn't watch it, please do, so that you know what we are talking about. First movement, sonata form. Second movement, scherzo. Joke. Third movement, slow, beautiful, let's call it nocturno. And then the fourth finale is simply a rondo. So very classical way of approaching the sonata. But still, Chopin, putting himself in the cage of classicism and the classical structure, he can express everything he wants with a huge freedom, but still being in the sonata form, in the sonata cycle. First movement, sonata form. First theme. Maybe enough for now, because let's focus on it part by part. If you want to listen to the whole, please do, but here in this video I want to go part by part, because I think that's the best idea that I can have in such a long piece of music. First theme has already 4 short motifs with which Chopin can play, and he can change them to, like Beethoven, to construct the whole piece. They have the potential for that. Listen, first motif. 5 notes going down. I remember many years ago I had a masterclass with a fantastic professor, Jewish professor from Israel, Adi Valdi. And I played for him this masterpiece, and I remember he said about these first 5 notes that this is like a stamp of the pianist. This is like you say, I am the pianist, and you show your hand, pianist hand with 5 fingers, because you can actually play these first 5 notes with your all 5 fingers. So that's the character is very majestic. Chopin writes allegro maestoso, which means simply majestic. So this character, majestic, starts from a very important motif, 5 notes going down. Then we have another motif, 3 notes. Then we have another motif of 6 notes. Also very important, chords going up. And then the 4th motif, the scale going down. Now listen to it again in its entirety and try to divide these motifs. And this is repeated. Well, we already reached the climax. We start with forte. This is unusual. Chopin wants to start powerfully. But then, immediately, as if he got scared, maybe shy, that he cannot start so loud, he repeats the first theme in the piano. And then what happens next? Chopin takes the first motif and starts to repeat it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Every time from a different note, so we have a kind of modulation. So, bridge. Everybody, when all the musicologists and everybody was listening to this and analyzing this for the first time, they first thought this is the bridge and the modulating bridge, which brings us to the second theme. And okay, and it seems it is. Listen again. And second theme? It seems it is. But what is this? Excuse me, again. What is this? What is this? Where are we? Now I play it on purpose because I want you to feel like these poor musicologists and composers that try to understand what it all is. Now I explain for you. I don't know if I'm better than them. Don't think that I feel I'm better than them. But I spent many years on this sonata. And of course, nowadays in 21st century, we have completely different approach. We can experience and we can see a little bit from more distance. So now I explain, at least subjectively, what I really see in this and how clever and a little bit wicked and evil Chopin was. Maybe Chopin was fed up with all the musicologists and critics and wanted to play with them. And he did it in such an intelligent, fantastic way. Who knows? Why? Okay, we can call this a bridge, but this is not really a bridge what I played for you at the beginning. So let's call it a false bridge. This is a false bridge. Misleading bridge. Fake bridge. That's even better. Fake bridge. Then there is a fake second theme. When we have a dialogue of two persons, can you hear? The dialogue. This is the fake second theme. Bridge starts. the second theme. Beautiful melody about love, which I will play for you soon, don't worry. So, isn't it fascinating? I think, in my opinion, it's absolutely gorgeous. Many people didn't understand it. I think it's so clear. So, let's focus now on the second theme, which was also criticized very much. You know, usually when composers wrote a sonata, like Beethoven or Mozart, or even some romantic composers, or even Chopin in his second sonata, I mean in his first published sonata, B-flat minor, when they wrote second theme, it was one melody. Could be longer, could be shorter, but it was a one material, one musical material, one melody, called a second theme. How many melodies and musical materials we have here, I show you now. But fasten your seatbelts. The first one. Not the end of second theme. Now we have melody number 2. And number 3. Very passionate. A little coquettish, a little listen, number 4. And number 5, which is the most beautiful. The most spiritual, the most mature. We approach the epilogue. And then everything is repeated. This is the end of exposition. Oh, yes, 5 different melodies when the last one is the most beautiful. It's almost like in the Bible, in the wedding which Jesus attended. If you know this part, when the best wine was left for the end of the wedding, and usually it's the beginning of the wedding. Well, of course, we can argue if it's the most beautiful, but for me, subjectively, this moment it's like a massage for my soul and heart. I love this part the most. 5 different melodies, and actually Chopin could write 5 different pieces of music based on these 5 motifs, 5 melodies. Why he didn't? We don't know. Maybe he felt he's going to die soon, he didn't have power, so he wanted to write out everything that he had inside. We don't know, but definitely it's not normal. I agree, it's not normal, but I have nothing against it. I love Chopin for that, because this is such a pleasure to play it and to listen to it. So I think we don't have to go deeper into this second theme, because the real idea is just to enjoy it and enjoy the richness of melodies that are inside. So just one thing to focus on how vocal it is. It seems like it's an opera aria, especially the first melody. Okay, epilogue, and then we have the development section, which starts very special. Let's listen to Recapitulation, and now I show you what is the most important here. The pianist who plays this piece should bring out the motif in the left hand, which seems to be very unimportant, but it's on the contrary. So listen. Now, the unimportant motif, which becomes the most important motif from the beginning and the first part of the development section. This becomes the theme of the fugue, a small fugue we can call it. Chopin writes the fugue at the beginning of the development section. So just like Beethoven in his last sonatas, Chopin wants to write a polyphonical part. I show you. Let's listen to this fugue. You know what fugue is? I hope you do. If you don't, please watch my video about Mazurka Opus 50, number 3. This. When I explain, I play some Bach and I explain what is the fugue. But now let's focus on the fugue. Let's first voice. Second. Third. Fourth. And then we have the motif from the first theme, from the beginning. This will be the idea of the first part of the development section. The fugue, where the theme is the unimportant motif from the very end of the exposition, and also parts of first theme of the sonata. Listen the whole first part of development section. Again the fugue. Again. And from this moment, Chopin is developing the first theme of the sonata. This. Just listen how it is done. And now, what is this? Just guess. Of course, it is the second theme. we are still in the development section, but this is the second theme. But of course, okay, this I understand, but we had 5 different melodies in the second theme. Which one is this? Number 2. This is number 2, because number 1 we had. Number 2 was like this. And here we have exactly the same melody being developed, and thanks God Chopin is doing it for quite a long time, so just sit back and enjoy the development section, developing of the second theme. Everything stops here, and we have some kind of polyphonic moment. Just listen to this and then I will explain what's going on in here. Well, this sounds like a little bit like Johann Sebastian Bach, doesn't it? Indeed, we have many voices, but what is the material? The material is still the second melody from the second theme. This one. The first, but now it's very calming. And this is very important moment, so please remember this. When we have this Bach moment, this is the end of the development section. And then should be the first theme, because we come to the recapitulation, but it's not. Chopin, like he did in his other sonata and also his both piano concertos, he resigns from repeating the first theme. Probably he thought that there's too much of first theme in the development section, or he just didn't feel it's necessary. Instead, he is repeating fake bridge. Then he is not repeating fake second theme. Mind you, it's very important. The fake second theme will never appear again. So he will not repeat fake second theme, and after fake bridge, he repeats the real bridge. And then the second theme. Without any changes. So that's what I'm going to play for you now. Fake bridge, real bridge, second theme. Real bridge. And the second theme. Imagine the singer singing about love. beloved one. Epilogue. Very important moment. And the end. The end of the epilogue, but not the end of the sonata, the first movement. Because Chopin doesn't want to finish it softly, thanks God. So he starts to, he writes a coda which will explode. That's all. Just one last thing to prove the genius of this piece. Do you know which material is using the coda? The first 5 notes that we had in this sonata. So Chopin drew a circle. Ta-ta-ta-ta-tam, all the time. Isn't it fascinating? In my opinion it is, and I hope you also think now that this is a true masterpiece. Thank you very much for watching, and I invite you for my next videos about other 3 movements. Thank you. See you.